So today onwards, we will be starting with a complete new topic. We will be discussing about the database. We will be discussing what database we will be going to start today. We will be discussing how a database is created, how it is connected, and how a table is created inside a database.
If you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn data analytics live from our industry experts, WsCube Tech got you covered. We bring you a complete course on data analytics where we will be starting our journey with the Excel. Moving ahead, we'll be talking about the databases where we'll be learning MySQL. And then for visualization, we'll be learning about Power BI and Tableau. Not just that, if you want to stand out in the market, we will also be teaching you Python programming along with the data science libraries. If you want to know more about this course, then you can find the attached brochure in our description, or you can also fill the form provided in our description. Now let's get started, guys.
So first of all, talking about this database, I'm saying this word database again and again. So first of all, let's understand what database is. So database is nothing, it is an organized collection of data which can be accessed, which can be managed easily by the user. You can organize the data inside the database with the help of rows, columns. That means basically a table. You can create a table which has rows, columns, indexes, right? So you can organize the data in the form of tabular form. The main purpose of the database is to operate on a large amount of data, to retrieve information, to add information, to work on it, to access it, to manage it. So that is the basically main use of database over here. What database we are going to learn today? We'll be talking about one of these databases, that is SQLite. So in this whole module, we will be learning about SQLite. It's a type of a database which is completely compatible with the Python. So SQLite is a lightweight and reliable database which allows us to use it without any installation processes. Now, without any installation processes means, yes, you don't have to install it, you don't have to install any software for it. It is already there in our Python. Our Python provides us with a library which will allow us to use SQLite. For that, all we need to do is we need to use the keyword import SQLite 3, and it will allow us to use all the properties. It will allow us to use all the functions inside the SQLite, and we can create a database with the help of that. So in this session, we will be learning how inside the Python we can create a database. We can connect our database with our Python file. We can operate on it. How we can create a table inside it. That part will be covered in our today's session. So let's get started. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So here, guys, already I have created one folder with me, that's SQLite. Here I'll be creating a new file. It will be a Python file. Right now it's a .py file. Okay. So we will be working on a .py file, that means a Python file, with the help of which we will be creating a database. So here, let's say I'll be taking example that I'm creating it for a school. That in a school we have student marks of different subjects. So yes, I'll be creating it for storing marks of 3 different subjects, right? So let's have a look on how it can be done. So I'll be calling it as report.py. So as soon as I create it over here. So guys, what are we going to do over here is basically, first of all, we will import SQLite. So I'll be writing import SQLite 3. Right, after importing, what we need to do, we need to build a connection over here. We need to connect this file with a new file that will have our database. Okay, so what I'll be doing, I'll be creating a variable called as connection. Connection is equals to SQLite3.connect. So I need to create a connection over here. That's why I'll be writing connect over here. And what should be the name of the file, that we need to mention over here. So whatever database file we want to create over here, we will be mentioning its name. So I'll be writing student data. Okay, so student data is the name of my file. Also, one more thing, that the extension over here it should be db. So student data.db. db over here is telling us that it is a database file over here. Okay, it shouldn't be a py file, it shouldn't be a txt file, but it should be a .db file. After this, I'm going to create a variable called as cur. And here I'll be creating my cursor. I'll be starting a cursor. Cursor is like a pointer when we are starting to work in a file, when we want to create tables over there. when we want to insert something, update something, delete something, we need a cursor, right? When we do file handling, in file handling, when we write f is equals to open demo.txt in any mode, reading, append, or writing mode, right? So there, that f is a file pointer, right? Similarly here also, cursor is a pointer that will allow us to work in a file. So cursor is equals to connection dot cursor. So I have created a cursor over here. Now what I need to do, will be creating a variable, let's say student, and inside it I'll be creating my table. So for creating a table, I'll be writing triple quotations. First of all, why triple quotations? Because it is going to be a huge line, and if I want to press enter in between, so that's why I can use triple quotations over here. And I'll be writing create table, and then we will be naming this table, that which table we want to create, what should be the name of our table. So let's say I'll be calling it as students. Okay, this because it will keep all the data of the students who are there inside the school, so I'll be calling it as a students. Yeah, next line I'll be opening the parentheses. Inside it, we need to write the name of the columns over here, that what columns we need over here. So let's say we need student roll number. Student roll number will work as a primary key. Talking about primary key is a unique key. That means it is a kind of a key that if it is assigned to you, it cannot be assigned to anyone else. So imagine I'm in a school, okay, and my roll number is 5. So let's consider a case over here that I'm in a school and my roll number is 5. Okay, so in the database of the school, it is written that on number 5, it is my name. Now what it's going to do, so now let's say I decided to change my school and I'm shifting to some other school, okay. So generally what happens, whoever student is there on number 6 roll number, they get shifted to number 5, right? But with primary key, this does not happen, okay. With primary key, like 5 was my roll number, so it will always remain mine. Even if I am not there in that school, still it will always remain mine. So primary key is a unique key. That means only you can have it. Doesn't matter if you are there or not. That means your data is there or it has been deleted. But that primary key cannot be assigned to anyone else. So what I'll be doing, I'll be considering the roll numbers of the students as the primary key. So I'll be writing over here student roll number. And it is going to be in an integer, which I am defining as a primary key. That it is a primary key and it will automatically increase. So suppose our first data would be number 1, then automatically the second data would be number 2. That means we don't have to assign these value, or it will auto increase. So I'll be writing auto increment. I'll put a comma over here. Next thing after roll number, what do we want? We want the student name. So I'll be writing student name. Student name will be a variable character. So varchar 255. I close the bracket, not null. That means we'll not leave it empty. Comma. Again, after student name, we need the student's grade. That means in which class they are. So, student class. And class can be an integer, like they are in 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, or it can be in variables as well. So, let's keep it string as well, so that we will be able to write 6th, 5th, 4th like this. So, I'll be keeping it again varchar, not null. Student email also we can keep. So, I'll be writing student email. Again, it's a varchar 255, not null. And lastly, I'm going to keep student's phone number. So, student phone number. Okay. And it will be in integers. So, I'll be writing integer over here. And again, not null. I have created student roll number integer as a primary key, which will auto increase. Then after that, student name, which is a varchar. Student class, again varchar. Student email, again varchar, and student phone number, that is an integer over here. Okay. Lastly, what I need to do, I need to execute this function. That means I have created this table, but I need to execute it as well, right? So to execute it, what we will be doing, we will be writing over here cursor dot execute. And what we have to execute, this student we have to execute. This table over here, student, this we have to execute. So if I write student over here, and lastly, just like how we have started the connection, if I close the connection over here by writing connection dot close, then it will be closed. Now let's run and see what will happen over here. So if I run it, nothing happens over here, but at the same time, if I open it, you can see we have our DB name is student data.db, and we have received a student data.db. If I open it, it looks like it actually looks like this, which you don't think is a file. but I'll be showing it to you with the help of our DB browser. We will be learning how to install a DB browser in our next session. As of now, just see that this file has been created. If I come back over here and try to run it again, it will throw me an error. Why it is throwing me an error over here? It is telling me that this student file already exists. So sometimes there might be a case that some file already exists, right? In that case, to avoid this error to happen, what we can do, we can write over here, create table if not exists. That means when do we have to create a table? If it does not exist. If it exists, then we don't have to do anything, nothing new will happen. But if it does not exist, in that condition, we have to create a table. So this is what this first line means, that create table if not exist. That means if it does not exist already, then create this table student in which all these columns are there. Lastly, we will execute this function over here, and lastly here we will execute the function and then close the connection with our DB. So this is how our table is created. This is how we can connect with the database and create a table over there. Now if I run it as well, so you see nothing will happen over here. Now it's not throwing any error anymore. So guys, this was how to create a database and how to connect it. I hope you have no doubts and no questions. With the help of SQLite, you can create many projects. I have some examples of some projects over here that you can create using SQLite. We have e-ticket booking system, library management system can be created, customer order management system, registration system, payroll management system. That means if you're working in a company, then the payroll system or the employee or a system that manages the employee data, or a bank database display system, or a report card management system inside a school. These kind of systems, many systems can be created with the help of SQLite. In our today's session, we will be discussing about how to install our DB browser for SQLite. And before that, let's have a small recap on what we have learned in our previous session. So guys, in our previous session, we learned what is database.
If you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn data analytics live from our industry experts, WsCube Tech got you covered. We bring you a complete course on data analytics where we will be starting our journey with the Excel. Moving ahead, we'll be talking about the databases where we'll be learning MySQL. And then for visualization, we'll be learning about Power BI and Tableau. Not just that, if you want to stand out in the market, we will also be teaching you Python programming along with the data science libraries. If you want to know more about this course, then you can find the attached brochure in our description, or you can also fill the form provided in our description. Now let's get started, guys.
We learned about what is SQLite. We learned how to create a database using SQLite. We connected it with the database. We created a table also inside it. And lastly, we discussed what kind of projects can be created with the help of SQLite, its advantages and its disadvantages as well. In our today's session, we will be discussing about how to install DB browser for SQLite. So in our previous session, we saw that we were not able to see the data that we have stored inside the tables, right? So today, with the help of this DB browser, we will be able to see that data also. So first of all, let's learn how to install it. For that, all you need to do is you need to open your Chrome browser or any browser that you use. For that, first of all you need to do is open your browser. So here in our browser, we will be looking for DB browser for SQLite. So as soon as I press enter, I get DB browser for SQLite. I can click over here. It gives me all the details over here about this DB browser SQLite, and you don't need to go through it. All you need to do is click on download. As soon as you click on download, you'll be getting it for the Windows. So for Windows, we have a latest release over here, that is 3.12.2 for Windows. Now there are 4 options given over here. We will be going ahead with the standard installer, and also depending on the Windows you have. So if it's 32-bit Windows, then yes, you can go for 32. If it's 64, you can go for 64. To check it, all you need to go to your search option over here, and you can go for about your PC. As soon as you open it, you get over here that I have a 64-bit operating system. So I'll be going for the 64-bit Windows over here, and if you want to go with 32, you can go for 32 as well. So I'll be going for 64, and if I click on save, it will get downloaded. You can see over here that it is downloading over here, and it is just of 17.2 MB. It won't take a lot of space of yours. So we'll be waiting for it to get downloaded. So guys, once it is downloaded, I'll click on it. As soon as I click on it, it gives me an option like this, that welcome to DB browser for SQLite setup wizard. I'll click on next. After this, I accept the terms, and here you will see all the details regarding it, like its license, when it was released, and all the versions and everything over here is there. If you want to go, if you want to read about it, if you want more information, yes, you can read it definitely. And I'll just directly click on I accept the terms and the license agreement, and I'll just click on I'll just check this box which says I accept the terms and conditions, and next. After this, I'll be choosing my desktop over here and clicking on next, and next again, and lastly install. It asks me for the permission over here, so we will be allowing it, giving it a permission. After that, it will be installed once we click on finish. Now I'll just come back over here. You can see on my desktop I have this DB browser SQLite. I'll double click on it. Right now there is nothing over here. It has something like name, type, schema, and new databases, open databases. Let's have a look on the database that we create in our previous session. So I'll be clicking on open databases. On my desktop I have SQLite. Inside this we have report.db. Report.db had all our data which we created in our previous session. We added a table over there about the students. So we have that data over here. For that, I'll be just clicking on it and click on open. As soon as I open it, you can see it, it shows me table over here. I open it, it has student, roll number, integer, math, science, social science, and everything is over here. So over here we have, so as soon as we have installed, you can see over here on my desktop I have DB browser. As soon as I double click on it, I get an option like this. I'll be browsing the data, and inside that I'll be clicking on open database. So here right now no data is there, that's why I'll be opening my data. Now if you remember guys, in our previous session we learned how to create a table. We created a table as we connected it with the database as well. So we'll be opening that one only to see that how it was working. So as soon as I open over here, I get the option, and I have saved it on my desktop in my SQLite folder. We have this report.db. As soon as I open it, you can see I have 5 fields that I added in that module. That is our student roll number, student name, math, science, and social. So our table is over here. Right now it does not have any data because we have not inserted any data yet. In our next session we will be learning that basically. So as of now, but you can see this is how our file has been created. All you need to do is you can click on open database, open it from here, and you can, before that you just need to click on browse data. So this will show you your database file over here. So with the help of this, you can open any of your database file which you have created using SQLite 3 in Python. So guys, in our previous session we learned how to install a DB browser. In our today's session we will be talking about how to insert data. So far we have learned how to create a database and connect it with our Python file. In our today's session we will be learning how to write data inside it. So previously we connected our Python file with the database, and also we created a table, but that table was completely empty, right? If I'll show it to you, you can see over here that the table was completely empty. Now what is our today's task? Our today's task is to fill this table. That means we need to enter the student roll number, student name, student class, email ID, phone number. So we will be learning how to insert this data using Python over here. So guys, for doing that, we have a very simple query called as insert query in our SQLite. So we'll be seeing how it can be done. First of all, we need to import SQLite, just like how we have done it in our previous session, that we imported SQLite. After this, we have to build a connection with our database file. So I'll be writing connection SQLite 3 dot connect, and with which file we have to connect. The name of our file is studentdata.db. So I'll be writing studentdata.db over here. After this, just like how we created a cursor, how we started a cursor, similarly we have to start a cursor. So I'll be writing cur is equals to connection dot cursor, and I'll open close the brackets over here. So this is the exact same lines that we wrote over here in the starting. Both the lines are exactly the same. Now what I need to do, I need to create a variable. So let's say I'll be adding the student 1 details. So I'll be writing student 1. Student 1 is equals to, I'll be opening the triple quotations again so that I can press enter over here. So if I am writing, lots of data and it's going in a one line, and all we have to do is scroll all the way towards the right, that would be that would not look nice, right? And it would also make us confused. So we will be using triple quotations so that we can press enter over here. So now what we are going to do, as I told you, that we are going to use our insert query over here. So I'll be writing insert into, that means where we are inserting it into our students table. So here we have a student table that in our first session we learned create table if not exist, and what is the name of the table, that is student. So we will be inserting it into student table. What all things we are going to insert over here, that we will be mentioning over here inside the parentheses. We know that the roll number is a primary key that will auto increase over there, so we don't need to provide the values for the roll number. We will be starting with the student name. So I'll be writing student name. We will be talking about the student grade, or is it class over there? So it's a student class, and then student email, and lastly we have student phone number. So these are our 5 fields which we need to fill. Okay, with what values? So values we will be writing over here, these field needs to be filled with the values over here. So we'll be writing values, and inside the bracket, that means inside the parentheses, we'll be providing inside the single quotations the values to it. So let's say the name of the first student is John. Okay, I'll press a comma, student class, that means in which grade the student is. Let's say the student is in 6th grade. I'll put a comma again, student email. So I'll be writing the student email as xyz@gmail.com, and I'll put a comma and write any phone number over here. Okay, and I'll close the parentheses. Now these are the fields in which these values we need to insert. Now what is the next thing over here, that we need to execute this. So for executing this, we will be writing cursor dot execute. What execution we need to do? We need to do the student one. This student one variable needs to be inserted inside our file. So I'll be writing student one over here. And lastly, what we need to do, I'll be writing connection dot commit. Now guys, what is this commit? Commit allows us to make any changes to our file. If we are inserting a new data, if we are updating a data, if we are deleting a data, or even if we are fetching the data, the commit allows us to make changes to the data. Okay, so here we will be using connection dot commit. And now if I run it over here, okay, there is a missing apostrophe over here, that means single quotations. Now if I run it, nothing will happen over here, but let's see our DB browser. So as soon as I go to DB browser and refresh it, you can see that on number 1 we have John, who is in 6th grade, whose email is xyz@gmail.com, and the phone number is the phone number that has been given. So this is how we can insert a single data over here. Now this was with the predefined variables. That means we defined this variable. What if we want to take the input from the user? So if we want to take the input from the user, there is again one very simple method, that I'll be creating variables as outside over here. That variable 1 is equals to input, because it's a string. So I'll be simply writing enter name here. Variable 2 would be holding our student's grade. So I'll be writing input, enter grade here. Variable 3 will be holding our student's email address. So again normal input, parentheses, and enter email here. And lastly variable 4, which will be holding our student's phone number. So that will be taken in integers. Why? Because it's all the numbers over there. So we'll be writing integers, and I'll be using enter phone number here. As soon as I'm done, what I'll be doing, I'll be creating tuples over here, which will store my variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, and variable 4. Because if we try to write these variables directly over here, if I try to write variable 1, comma, variable 2, comma, variable 3, comma, variable 4 over here directly, and I try to run it as well. So suppose if I'm adding any data, so it says there is no such column as variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4. So what we can do, I can just copy this, remove this, and create a tuple over here. So I'm creating t is equals to, inside this I'll be entering these values, variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, and variable 4. Here inside the values I'll be putting question mark, comma, question mark, comma, question mark, comma, question mark. That means here right now no values has been assigned, but this will hold the variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4. And when we are executing this function, we will be providing with the 2 parameters over here. One is student 1 and the second is the t. That means this student 1 will be executed, and inside this at the places of the question mark, this tuple t, whatever the values this tuple t is holding, these values will be executed. Now if I run it, it asks me for the details. So if I write carry over here, I enter the grade of carry, that is 5th, enter the email abc@gmail.com, and enter the phone number. So any phone number if I have entered, and if I press enter, nothing will happen. That means no error is here. But at the same time, if I open DB and refresh it, you can see on number 2 the carry has been added. That means we have taken the input from the user and we have stored it over here, right? Now a question might arise that what if we want to give multiple inputs? Suppose if we are taking the input from the user, or also we are using predefined variables over here. Now what can be done if we want to use multiple inputs? Your answer would be very simple, that we can use a loops over here. So I'll just show you one example. That I'll be creating a while true over here. Inside while true, I'll be adding all these things. So everything got added inside the while true. Now what should be happening over here? I'll be using a repeat. Repeat is equals to input. And do you want to add more data? So I'll be writing, do you want to add more data, and give the answer in yes or no. So I'll be writing yes/no and close the bracket, put a colon, and if the answer to this repeat is equal to small n no, or the answer to this repeat is equals to capital N no, in that condition we will break the loop, right? But still it will throw me an error. Why it will throw me an error? Let me just show it to you. So if I write any name over here, any grade, any email plus any phone number over here, and say yes to it, that I want to add more details, write anything, and write some phone number and press enter. This time if I write no, it will tell me that this has been executed, there is no error. But let's see that this first data we provided with the two datas over here, right? One is this data and one is this one, the second data. Let's see if both the datas got added over here or not. You can see as soon as I refreshed it, only one data has been added. The previous data, that means the data we gave on the first place, has not been added. That means it's only executing the data which has been entered the last by the user. So how to overcome this problem is, we can write over here execute many. Execute many will allow us to execute many variables at the same time. But what we need to do, we need to provide a list over here, that I'll be creating an empty list. L is equals to empty list over here, and every time this tuple will be added inside the list. That means whatever values we are providing, these will get added inside the list. Then again the new values that will be provided, that will also get appended to the list. Again new values, that will also get appended to the list. So I'll be writing over here L.append, and we will be adding this T to it. And now this function over here, that means cursor.execute many student1 and tuple's name. So now tuple's name will not come over here because all the data is being added inside the list. Now the name of the list, that is L over here, will come. So as soon as I run it now, if I add the details like Lisa, and Lisa is in 3rd grade, and her email is this, gmail.com, and any phone number. Similarly, if I write yes and add one more detail, let's say for Peter, and Peter's grade is 3rd again, and the email is any email @gmail.com, and I'm just writing a random phone number over here. And if I say no to it, so nothing will happen over here. But as soon as I open my DB, it should get added. The two data should get added over here. So if I run it, if I refresh it, both the data, that is Lisa and Peter, they have got added over here. You can clearly see it. So this is how, using the loop, you can insert many data at the same time. If you want to insert 5 data, 6 data, 10 data, 20 data, so you want to use, if you know that how many data you have to insert, you can use a for loop also to ask for the data. Similarly, I think the while loop is more convenient over here. That's why I have used a while true over here. So I hope guys what I have explained is clear to you. One very simple method is there, that we use the exact same 3 lines. We build a connection, we create a cursor. After this, we will ask for the variables, that what 4 variables are there for asking the user input, put them inside a tuple. But this tuple, but because we want to give multiple data over here, this tuple is not sufficient. We need to add this tuple every time to a list. That means every time we are repeating the loop, this tuple will be added with its value into a list. Then again new values are provided, new tuple will be added to the same list, right? Similarly, we will be executing it, and lastly, because we want to execute many of them at the same time, we will be writing cursor.execute many and call our variable student1 over here, which is inserting all the data along with the name of the list over here that we have been maintaining, and all the data is being entered over here. Lastly, connection.commit. Commit allows us to make any changes that we want to make in a file, whether it's about adding a new data, updating a new data, or deleting a data. The commit will be used over here to make any changes to the file. So guys, in our previous session, we learned how to insert a data into a DB browser. That means how to insert a data into a table using Python.
If you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn data analytics live from our industry experts, WsCube Tech got you covered. We bring you a complete course on data analytics where we will be starting our journey with the Excel. Moving ahead, we'll be talking about the databases where we'll be learning MySQL. And then for visualization, we'll be learning about Power BI and Tableau. Not just that, if you want to stand out in the market, we will also be teaching you Python programming along with the data science libraries. If you want to know more about this course, then you can find the attached brochure in our description, or you can also fill the form provided in our description. Now let's get started, guys.
Now today in our today's session, we will be discussing about a select query, order by method, and a limit method that is used in Python to work on DB. Now select method, let's talking about the select query over here. The select query allows us to view the data that is there inside our file. We can view that data inside our Python with the help of our select query. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So here I'll be using our import SQLite 3. And we'll build a connection over here. That connection is equals to SQLite.3.connect, and we'll be building this connection with our student database. So I'll be writing student database over here. After writing student database over here, after connecting it with the database over here, we will be creating our cursor. So we'll be starting cursor. Cursor is equals to connection dot cursor. And next thing that I want to do over here is we need to execute over here. Just like how we used to execute things in the end. Now here we will be executing that connection dot execute. And what we need to execute? We need to execute this function over here, that is our select query. So select for select query we will be using quotations over here, and I'll be writing select star. Select star over here means that select everything from our table student. Okay, select everything from student. Select star from student means select everything from student, and we are storing it inside a variable. So I'll be calling this variable as get data. So get data is equals to connection dot execute, and we will be selecting all the data from it. And now what we will be doing, so to write this data over here, we know that there is a multiple data. As if I open my DB browser over here, you can see we have 5 data over here. So what I need to do is I need to add all these 5 data. I need to view this all 5 data over here. So this will be viewed in the form of a tuples over here. Remember that. But now if I want to view all this data, I don't want it in a paragraph. I want it in a separate lines. For separate lines, we know that we use a for loop. So for simple for loop, I'll be writing for I in get data colon print I, and lastly we will close the connection over here. So connection dot close, and as soon as I run it, you can see whatever data I had over there inside my file, that data is over here. It is in the form of a tuples. So you can clearly see all the data, all the 5 roll number that I had over here are now here inside over here. With the help of what? With the help of our select query. So basically all we needed to do was select star from student. The select star from student allows us to select everything from student. Okay, that from everything that is there inside the table, we can select it, right? So now what I want to do, if I want to, so right now all the data is coming over here. What if I want to view starting the first 3 data, right? So if I want to view it in this way, that I want to define that I should have a limit, that I just want to view first 2 data or first 3 data. So what for that we have our limit method over here. For limit method, all you need to do is write limit over here, that limit, and inside the brackets you can define that till which limit you want to go up to. So you want to go up to 3 over here. So if I run it, So here you can see it is providing me with the first 3 data over here. This is our limit used for. This is how it can be used for. If I write 2 over here and run it, it will give me up to 2 data over here, right? Similarly, talking about the order by, as the word order itself is saying that some order is over here. Order means ascending order and a descending order. The default is ascending order, that this is how it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But if we want to arrange it in a descending order over here, that I want to write over here that order by. Now let's say I want to arrange this in a particular order. For that I'll be writing order by, and order by, now which thing I want to arrange order by, will be taking a name of any column over here. So I know that we have a column student name over here or a student roll number as well. So let's say I'll talk about student roll number, which has our primary key. So I'll be writing student roll number. The order of student roll number I want it in a descending way, so I'll be writing DESC. So in a descending order if I want it, so I'll be writing DESC, and now as soon as I run it, you can see I get all the data in a descending order. That means first fifth one is coming, then 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1. So basically here primary key is more often used. This is how order by works, and you can also combine the order by with the limit. Suppose if you want to arrange something in the ascending order over here, so this is how you can arrange something in a descending order. At the same time, if you want to arrange something in an ascending order, let's say if I write student roll number, and here I'll be mentioning the ascending order. For ascending order, we have to just write ASC. The short form would be ASC, and if I now run it, it gives me an output with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers like this. Similarly, if you want to add a combination of limit and order by, that can also be done over here. How it can be done? So we have written that order by student this, and now we can write the limit that I want to limit it up to 3 only. Okay, so if I run this, I get the output like this, and at the same time it works for the DESC as well. That means for the descending order as well. So if I write DESC, so it will give me 5, 4, 3. That means 3 will be there, but from the bottom side. So in the descending order, we will get the limit of 3 over here. This is how our select query works. Select allows us to fetch a data, for whole data over here. And with the limit, we can provide with how many lines of it we want. And with the order, we can tell if we want it in a ascending order or we want it in a descending order. So guys, in our previous session, we learned the method of select query. Select query allows us to view the data which is in our DB browser, and we can view the data inside our Python. We can view it with the help of a limit and order also. We can arrange it with the order that if it is ascending or if it should be descending. We can provide it with the limit that we want to, that till which limit we want to see that data. So in our today's session, we will be discussing about deleting a query. So far we know how to insert it, how to view it, but today we will be learning how to delete a data. Suppose if there is some unwanted data over there inside your TV browser and now you want to delete it. So for that we have a delete query over here. Today we will be working on that. So let's have a look on how delete query works, and we will be seeing its structure as well. So guys, here I have created a new file just like how I have done in previous session. Similarly, first of all I'll be importing SQLite. After that, I'll be building a connection over here. That connection is equals to SQLite3.connect, and we have to connect it with our student data. So I'll be writing student data.db over here. And lastly, I'll be starting my cursor over here. So for cursor, I'll be writing cursor is equals to connection.cursor. And now what I need to do, I need to execute the delete query method over here. So for executing it, I'll be writing connection.execute. What we need to execute over here, we want to delete a data. So we will be here writing delete from. So from where we have to delete? We have to delete it from our students table. So I'll be writing student over here, that from our student table we have to delete it. And in the student table also from where we have to delete it. So where means that deleted from student, from where we will be going through a particular row over here, that we will be going to a particular column over here. So if I want to delete something, we usually use primary keys, but you can use any column over here if you know the value. So if I go to my browser over here and see, you can see that number 3 is like the data which is there inside the number 3. It is a useless data. It does not even make sense as well. So let's delete whatever is there on number 3. So what we will be doing, we will be taking the roll number over here and 3. So from where we will be deleting from. So guys, this is a very simple method of deleting something. All you need to do is you need to get to the primary key and just select the number over there, and wherever you select the number, whichever number you select, that row will be deleted. Basically, if I do it for any other row also, if I do it for row number 5, that means roll number 5, and if I run it, and nothing will happen over here. But if I go to my DB and refresh it, the number 5, whatever data was there on number 5, now it has been deleted. So this is how our delete query method works over here. So guys, in our previous session, we learned how to delete a data from our DB browser. Now in our today's session, we will be learning about how to update a data. To update a data, we have an update query inside our Python. To update a data, we have an update query inside our SQLite 3. So we will be seeing how to use it and how to update a data. Update a data over here means that let's say there is a data on number 2. On number 2, we have a student name who is in 5th grade. Now they have changed their phone number over here. So we need to provide it with a new phone number. That means we have to update it over here. So for that, we will be using our update query. Let's have a look on how we can use our update query. To update a data over here, all you need to do is write import SQLite 3. After that, we will build a connection over here. That connection is equals to SQLite3.connect, and we will be connecting it with our browser, that is our student data. So student data.db over here. Right, after this we will be starting our cursor. So cursor is equals to connection.cursor. Right. After this we need to execute this function. What function we need to execute? That we need to update a data over here. So we will be writing over here that connection.execute, and inside it we will be providing with update. And what we are going to update? We are going to update our student table. So that's why we'll be writing student, update student. And what we are going to set? So we have to update student and set a value over here. Set whose values? Let's say I want to change the phone number over here, right? Student phone number, and I'll need to provide it with a new number. So I'll be writing student underscore phone number. So a new random value is, let's say, any random value that we are taking, any phone number that we are taking over here. And where we have to do it, we need to provide it with our primary key over here. So primary key is inside our roll number. So student roll number, and student roll number would be number 2. That on number 2 inside the student phone number, we have to update this data. So now if I use connection.commit, so now if I use connection.commit and run my program over here, so nothing would happen over here. But if I go to my DB browser, then and right now you can see it's something 8438, and if I refresh it, it's something 47233. So you can see the new changes have been updated over here. How it has been updated? All we need to do is we need to use update statement. With update, we have to mention that where we have to update the name of our table. We have to set the value over here. Only two key terms are used over here, that is update and set. That update student, that is our table. Set what? Set the student phone number. Suppose instead of student phone number, I am using student name over here. That the name of this student, which is on number 2, his name is Carrie, right? So Carrie is written in small c over here. I want to convert it to capital C. So what I'll be doing, I'll be converting this and writing capital C Carrie. And now if I run it, so I'll be writing my student name over here, that is Carrie, inside in the capital letters. And now as soon as I run it, nothing would happen over here. But if I go to my DB, it's in small c right now. As soon as I refresh it, you can now see it is in capital C. So this is how it is updating our data over here. If you want to update multiple data, suppose student name is Carrie, and if you want to update in the same row, you want to update more data, so what you can do, you can provide with a comma and write student phone number, let's say, or student email ID. Let's do it student email ID. That student email is equals to, I'll be writing carry@gmail.com, and I'll be putting it inside a string where roll number 2. Now if I run it, nothing would happen over here. If I go to here, you can see number 2, we have carry, and student email is abc@gmail.com. Now if I refresh it, it gives me capital C carry@gmail.com. That means whatever the new value we have provided over here, it has been updated over here. In our previous session, we learned how to update a data inside a table. We had a table, and if we wanted to update some data, like some data is old data, or we want to make some changes to the data, we use the updated query. Now in our today's session, we will be learning about the where clause in Python. Guys, what is where clause? Now suppose you know how to extract the data. We know how to extract the whole data. But what if we don't want the whole data? We want...
If you want to become a successful data analyst and if you want to learn data analytics live from our industry experts, WsCube Tech got you covered. We bring you a complete course on data analytics where we will be starting our journey with the Excel. Moving ahead, we'll be talking about the databases where we'll be learning MySQL. And then for visualization, we'll be learning about Power BI and Tableau. Not just that, if you want to stand out in the market, we will also be teaching you Python programming along with the data science libraries. If you want to know more about this course, then you can find the attached brochure in our description, or you can also fill the form provided in our description. Now let's get started, guys.
A small part of that data, or a one row of that data. Suppose we have a whole data of, let's say, thousands of lines. Okay, right now though we have a small data, right? But at the same time, suppose if we have thousands of lines over there and we want to extract a small data or a one row over there. So how to fetch that single row over here in Python using the where clause, we'll be seeing that in this session. So guys, here we will be using our where clause. For using where clause, first of all, we will be fetching all the data. For fetching all the data, we have view data file. So I'll be taking all the data from here and I'll be using it over here, printing it over here. As soon as I run it, it gives me all the data which was there. I'll be removing this limit from here and the descending order as well. For now, I just want all the data. Okay. So as soon as I run it, I get the output that we have 3 inputs over here. So I get the output over here that we have 3 details over here, which is first John 6 XYZ email and the phone number. Now, talking about the where clause. So guys, you will see over here that this is right now only 3 data, like we only have 3 rows. What if what if there are thousands of rows and I want to fetch one data? So to fetch one data, what I will be doing, I'll be writing fetch data. I'll be creating a variable over here, fetch data is equals to connection.execute. Now what we need to do, we need to get a data from here. So what we will be using the same select method. We'll be writing select star from student. Okay, so we have to select star from student, but from where we have to fetch only one row over here. So we'll be giving a condition that where let's say I'll be opening my DB browser. I'll go to my student data over here and it says let's say I want to fetch this row over here. Okay, so I'll be writing the student name, that the student name is Carry. Okay, so where student name is equal to Carry, right? I'll be also adding a space of one line over here so that you will understand that this is the previous data, like this part is our previous data that we fetched and this will be our new data. So I'll be adding a print statement over here with open close parentheses and another print statement with open close parentheses. So there will be a gap of 2 lines over here, right? So now all I need to do is I need to use my for loop. So same for loop I'll be picking from here and I'll be putting it over here. And instead of get data, this time it is a fetch data. So here basically what we have done, we have written fetch data and inside that we have written connection.execute. That means this part we have to execute. What we have to execute, we have to select the whole data, and from the whole data where we will be going, where is basically a condition over here, that where we will be going, where we are going for where the student name Carry lies. So wherever the student name Carry lies over there, we need to go exactly at that location and fetch that data. So as soon as I run it, you will now see that the whole table is here, and with a gap of 2 lines we have fetched the data that was on number 2. That means that was on our student name Carry. Okay, similarly, you can provide with multiple conditions over here if you want to provide with two conditions that suppose if I go to my DB browser and if I change this to 6th over here, that both student 1 and student 2 are in 6th grade over here, and I want to now fetch using student grade. Okay, so student class I'll be writing, and class is equals to, if I write inside it 6th. So as soon as I run it, guys, you will notice over here that wherever 6th grade was there, so two students were having 6th grade over here, that is our John and Carrie, and both the students got printed over here. So what if you want to provide for a particular condition that, okay, the grade is 6 but the name should be Carrie. Okay, so for that, what we will be doing, we will be giving our AND operation, that AND we will be writing. So next is our student name. So we'll be writing student name is equal to Carrie. And if I run this now, you will see now it is providing me with one data only. That previously it was providing me with the two data where both the students were there of 6th grade, but now because I have defined that both the conditions should be satisfied, both the condition is what? That the student should be of 6th grade, but also his name should be Carrie, so it's providing me with one value over here. Okay. Similarly, you can take the user input as well, where you can concatenate this string over there, that you can take a user input inside a variable, and for that variable you can concatenate it. So in this way you will be able to take the user input as well to fetch a data as well. In our previous session, we learned how to use a where clause. We learned how to fetch a particular data from a table. Now in our today's session, we will be learning how to join two particular tables. So suppose, let's consider a case over here that we have two different tables, but inside that the data is about the similar kind of a thing. Suppose I am considering the same case of the school. One table has my student data and one table has their fee structure. Okay, that how many fees they have paid so far. Okay, I want to join both the tables. I want to merge both the tables. So what I will be using? I will be using our join method. First of all, let's have a look how these tables looks like. So I have already created two tables over here. Right now they look like in this way, that our first table is for the fee structure, where I have student ID, their roll number and student fee. And our second table contains the table that we have been working on so far, that is our student roll number, student name, student class, student email and student phone number. So one has the student details and the other one has the fee structure, that how much fees they have received so far from the particular student. Now how they have entered the data over here, in this fee file they have entered the data in such a way that they have written 2, 1, 3, 3, 1, 4. These are the roll number. That means the roll number that we were mentioning over here, those roll numbers are over here, that are 2, 1, 3, 3, 1, 4. Okay, and the student fee, how much fees they have paid, maybe they pay quarterly or in whatever way how much fees they have paid, they have written the data over here. Now what I need to do here, you can clearly see, if I see this file, it would be very difficult for me to understand, okay, that roll number 2 has paid 12,000, but I don't know who is roll number 12, right? If I particularly look at this file, like if I completely ignore the right file and just look at this file, I don't know that which student has provided me with the 12,000 amount of money. So what we can do over here, we can merge, we can join both the files over here. This one has the student name and this one has the student fee. So I want student name, student roll number and student fee. So what we can do, we can merge both of these files. So what I need over here to merge both of them is a common keys over here. So you can see roll number is something which is common in both of them. Roll number over here is 2133114, or student roll number over here is also 124. That means it has been, this one also has been arranged with the help of roll numbers and the other one has been also arranged with the help of roll number. So their name and other things are also there. But roll number is something which is common in both of them. Roll number is the primary key also for our student table, right? So what we will be doing, we will be using this primary key over here. We will be seeing the pattern, because here student ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is completely, so we are not going to completely use this. But what we will be doing, we will be checking that student fee is not over there here also. Lastly, we have student roll number. Roll number is something which is common in both of them, which can match it. Like with the help of this, we can match it. That on, okay, roll number 2 has provided 12,000. Who is roll number 2? Carrie is roll number 2. Roll number 1 has provided 9,500. So who is roll number 1? John is roll number 1. So that means this thing is matching over here. Roll number is something that is matching in both the files over here, both the datas over here. So what we will be doing with the help of our roll number key, we will be merging both the files. So let's have a look in Python that how it can be done. So guys, here I have created a file. I have already added some data like import SQLite. I have already made the connection, created the cursor and closed the cursor. In between, we will be executing our function. So our the function that we are going to execute would be data. Data is equals to connection dot execute. And what we will be doing, we will be first of all selecting it from whole data, that select. So I'll be using triple quotations over here. I'll be writing select star from. Okay, now here we have to join the student file and the fee file, right? So I'll be writing student join fees. Okay. Now from where we have to join it? We know that we have to join the student file with the fees file, but from where we have to join it? We have to join it from the roll number, right? So what we will be doing, we will be writing where student dot student roll number. So here if I go to my database, you will see that in our student file, we have student roll number. So we will be writing it in this way, that student dot student roll number, that is the name of our field, should be equal to fees dot student roll number. So in our fee database, so if I go to my fees database over here, here also we have student roll number, but this belongs to our fees file. That's why we will be writing fees dot student roll number. Okay. So select everything from student, join fees where student roll number is equal to student roll number in our fees category. So that means we have to join both the file from where we have to join, where our student roll number matches with our fees student roll number. Okay. So we will be doing this, and because we want to print it over here, we will be using our for loop, that for I in data print I. So now let's run and see what happens. You will notice that both the files have been joined over here. We have one number 2 Carrie who is in 6th grade, whose email is this, number is this. Again, his student ID is 1, number 2 is his student roll number, and here 12,000 is what the fees that he has paid. So that means all the data is over here. You will also notice that here in our student, we don't have any roll number 3, although we have number 3 in our fees. But because it is not there, because that data is not present in our first file, what it is doing, it is completely removing that data. That whichever data is not matching in both the files, it is completely removing that data and only providing us with the data which is present in both the files. Now as we can see over here, we are getting all the data. We don't want all the data over here. Suppose we want a small data only over here. So what we will be doing, we will be writing whatever data we need over here. So from our student DB, we need a student roll number, student name. So first of all, let's start with the student name. So I'll be writing student name. That should be in caps. So student. So we want it from our student file, that's why student dot student name, comma. What else we need? We need student dot student roll number. So student dot student roll number. And I'll probably add it to our next line. And I'll put a comma. And what else we need from our fees department? We need the fees column. So let's go and check over here that in our fees department, we have student fee over here. So I'll be writing fees dot student underscore fee. Is it fee or it's fees? Okay, it's fee only. So I'll be writing this, and as soon as I run it over here, you can see it is providing me with the 3 data that we have asked for. That is our student roll number. That is our first here. We have it. Next is our student fee that we have over here, and lastly we have the. So it is providing us with the 3 data that we have asked for. First one is our student name, that is our Carrie. Second is this roll number, that is 2, and the last one is the fee that he has paid. So whatever data we want to ask for, we can provide it over here, and we can fetch that data. We can join the files and fetch that data over here. So I hope guys how to join two tables is clear to you. And here we are done with the SQLite 3. So that means we have completed all the topics in SQLite 3. In our next session, we will be talking about the problems related to SQLite 3. Maybe we'll be doing an assignment related to SQLite 3, so that all your doubts will be cleared. All the questions that you might have been having in your mind would be clear by after that assignment. So stay connected guys, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you.